Hello, welcome back to the Villa View. For the first time this summer, it looks like we've got some good news.
Right, Dan, before we start with the good news, I saw a picture of the rabbits with a load of wallpaper around them. Has there been some sort of disaster at your house?
Yeah, it does look a bit like Keith Winehouse or Steve Rounders, like took me captive, but it is actually my own place. We're just going through a little bit of a redecoration at the moment, which was started by the rabbits due to them tearing the bottom of the wallpaper off. So we're just a bit of renovations at the moment. So it doesn't look the best, but hopefully what I say will make some sense.
Before we get people turning off, because we're just talking about rabbits and decorations, tell me about this good news, Dan. What are your general thoughts so far? Obviously, the news has only broken in the last sort of, I don't know, hour or so.
It can only be good news, but by all accounts, the club looks like it had big bills to pay going into next week, and they may not have been able to pay them if what we read in the press is true. So to have stayed that often, had some significant investment, can only be a good thing. I don't think any Villa fan will be sitting here today saying, "Oh, that's bad news." It can only be good. I mean, I don't think it staves off financial fair play. I think that's still a problem for us, but the club now has got a chance to make itself self-sustainable again and kind of start again, if that makes sense, and start things from scratch, and I hope they use that opportunity and we've got better times ahead. I
mean, with hindsight, you could look back and say that if that is the approach now, that is the approach that Dr. Tony should have taken, 3 seasons ago or whatever it is now. Two seasons. But no one was complaining then when we were splashing. Well, not many people anyway were complaining when we were splashing decent money on Championship players. But if that is the case now, that we take a different route, we make ourselves self-sustainable, like you say, that's only a positive for the club and the future of Aston Villa.
It's easy to criticise and look back in hindsight. I mean, obviously we've done some things wrong under the previous regime. That cannot be denied. They'd obviously have to say that themselves. But for me, I'm quite happy to have Dr. Tony Ho still involved. I know that them two and Luke Organ have worked really hard behind the scenes to make this happen and get the best deal for Aston Villa on the table, and now we're running with it. Hopefully there's only good times ahead for us.
With issues that we've had in the past, should there be a feeling of scepticism about this deal, and Villa fans maybe don't overreact like we've done in the past, or is it just go with it and be excited for a week at least?
I mean, I think since the playoff final all we've had is misery, so I think for today we can enjoy ourselves, because it is good news, but the proof eventually will be in the pudding, and we'll see what happens in the future. I mean, I don't sit here thinking Aston Villa are bulletproof by any extreme, and I don't think any Villa fan will be sitting there feeling like that, but you've got to think that now surely there can only be happier times ahead. I mean, the season starts very quickly. I think it's only a few weeks away now, so we need to do some form of business, and as I say, financial fair play is still a problem, and I think you'll most likely still see Chester and Grealish leave, which is unfortunate, and I'm unhappy about it, because there are our two best players, and I think whatever we do in the transfer market, I think those two are irreplaceable to Aston Villa Football Club at this moment in time, especially when we've lost the people that we had in on loan as well. I mean, I think you'll see us utilise the loan market now. This isn't going to make us come in and spend 20-30 million to improve the squad. I think what this will do, it'll allow us to bring in loan players and free transfers and pay a percentage of those loan players' wages. I'd expect to see Onuma back on loan now, maybe Twanzebe. I think you'll probably see us delve into the free transfer market and take Robert Huth. I think those deals that are maybe on the table that we couldn't complete in the last few weeks will now be completed, and hopefully we'll be able to get a semblance of a squad together now, because that's the main thing. We've got to be ready to have a go.
Yeah.
In a few weeks, we've got a relatively decent start, I would say, fixtures wise. I'd say the fixture gods have been quite kind to us. So if we get off to a good start, you never know what the season can hold, because the Championship is all about momentum, and obviously a good start helps you in that aspect. But it's early days. I mean, we haven't really heard much from the new ownership, the new investors that are involved in Villa. We've not heard too much from Dr. Tony, so I suppose in the coming days in the coming weeks, they're going to review things, look at things in the club that can be changed, and I think there's a lot of that, and I think they can look at things in the club that can be improved as well. And again, I think there's plenty of that. So hopefully, in the coming months, we'll start to see some changes at Villa that are positive.
Well, we'll come on to financial fair play a little bit in a moment. I saw a couple of people on Twitter say, "Oh, we're still not out of trouble yet," which is fair to a degree, but also the trouble before today was administration and not being able to pay the bills. That short-term catastrophe basically is now you'd think gone. I mean, unless I'm mistaken somewhere along the line, that there's no threat of that now. You'd also think that we don't have to, say accept a bid for Jack Grealish of 15 million because we need to pay some bills next month. We've now got a little bit more bargaining power when it comes to player fees. You'd think that we're not desperate just to get any sort of cash injection. We can say, there is that thing with financial fair play that we do need to make up a certain amount of money, but we're not so desperate that we'll take cut price deals just to keep the lights on at Villa Park, basically.
Yeah, and I say that's a good thing. And this time last week we weren't in that position, so I can only be positive about it. I mean, let's be honest, we shouldn't really be in this situation.
Yeah.
In the first place, a football club shouldn't find, especially a football club like ours, shouldn't find themselves in that position. But I'm glad about that. But as I say, the sales will probably still have to happen, in my opinion. But I think we've got till March, haven't we?
Yeah. To
make up some form of financial fair play. And I think we were talking about it earlier that even if you're showing signs that you're trying to get the club to where it should be with financial fair play, I think that counts in some. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that counts in some way. But to lose Grealish and Chester, as I've said, will be a massive blow. But to lose Aston Villa Football Club full stop would have been an even bigger blow. So
a little bit on these new investors. It's basically made up of the NSWE group, which is the initials of the two investors, which are, excuse this pronunciation, which is probably wrong, Nassef Sawiris, net worth 7 billion apparently, and Wes Edens, an American businessman, net worth 2.5 billion.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if you got both them wrong.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Wes Edens is probably right, but Nassef, I'm sorry if you're watching, I've probably got it wrong.
I hope you're not watching with me sat in this abandoned warehouse. It doesn't look
obviously, it's hard to say at this point, who these people are, and find out information. Much like when Dr. Tony came in, obviously that was a little bit more difficult with being in China. Wes Edens is in with an NBA team, but apart from that, at this early stage, it's hard to sit here and go, oh, this is the list of what they can do. There's a few sites that list their apparent worth, which is nice to see they've got money.
Yeah.
But any general thoughts, Dan? Any offerings you've got for us?
I mean, I'm an avid player of NBA 2K, I've seen on the PlayStation 4, so I possess a little bit of knowledge. I know that Wes Edens is one of the owners of the Milwaukee Bucks, and I know they're not one of the biggest franchises in the NBA, but I think they're well respected in the way that they're run, so our new investor obviously plays a big part in that. So that's what we need Villa to be. We need Villa to be self-sustainable, and we need Villa to be well run. I mean, I think there's been very, very good intentions from the last two owners, but I just don't want us to find ourselves in a bad situation again, like we have done this summer. So if we can take something away from previous sports teams' ownerships, then that'll be a good thing again.
And then looking at my notes again, Nassef Sawiris, I mean, I think that was different to what I said before. Apparently he's Egypt's wealthiest man with 7 billion net worth, I think it is, and he comes from a family of, I think he's got two brothers, and his dad was part of this massive corporation. I think I read somewhere that this entire family is worth like 30 billion combined. I mean, happy days, right?
I mean, it sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Certainly more money in the bank than the Bardell family and probably the Rolinsons
just a bit
as well. So, as I say, it sounds too good to be true, but obviously a lot of hard work has been going on behind the scenes to make this happen, and I'm appreciative of that, because obviously we needed it, and it really sounds like we were so desperate that anyone could have come in, but the two guys that we have got in sound like the real deal. So I'm hoping that it's a very, very good time for Aston Villa in the future. I don't think much will change immediately. Like, it's not, as I say, it's not going to be like we're going to be blowing teams out of the water, spending loads of money immediately. But in the future, if we can get ourselves right and eventually at some stage get ourselves promoted, you'd think some good times might be ahead. Dare we dream?
So as always, when there's a takeover, or in this case investment, there's always talk about the manager. What does that mean for the manager? Does he stay? Does he go? Do they want to get their own guy in? What do you think about what happens to Steve Bruce now?
I really don't know. I couldn't predict it either way. As you say, as soon as new people come on board a football club, there's always talk of the manager changing. I mean, I guess if we'd wanted to have changed Bruce previously, we probably didn't have the money to do it, compensation-wise. I would guess now that if that was a problem and they wanted to get rid of Bruce, which I'm not saying they do, I simply don't know, that I'd imagine that wouldn't be a problem anymore, but I'm really not sure. I'd imagine a lot of things are up in the air. I mean, in one of the articles it said about changes had been on hold or something behind the scenes, and that there would be could be changes behind the scenes. But that doesn't necessarily mean the manager. That could be anywhere at Villa Park. So I think some things need freshening up. So hopefully we'll see some changes. But manager wise, to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if Bruce was here for the whole season and beyond. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
So I put a tweet out earlier saying thoughts welcome AVFC fans after this news was posted. I'm just going to scroll through a couple of them of what I think are a few misconceptions, and hopefully, I mean, not that we know the answers to this, but we could maybe have to clear them up a little bit. Does this mean JT could come back? Somebody else says this means stability and tells Stoke City Chester is not for sale. Obviously, with the financial fair play goings on that we need to make up 30, 40 million, whatever the figure is, there still needs to be some player sales unless there's some magic workaround that these new guys can sponsor the Villa Park or whatever and say, oh, all our financial troubles are gone. We don't know what the options are in terms of that, but you'd expect player sales still need to happen to make up this financial fair play. It's not just a case now that we've got investment, so that means we can say we want to keep every player, get all our loans back and win the league next season. I
mean, I'd expect if John Terry was to come back, his wage demands would have to be significantly lower than last year, so it's not impossible by any means. I mean, he hasn't made a decision on his future yet. He's still available, I understand. He hasn't retired. Obviously he's been linked with coming to Sky to replace Thierry Henry. Snodgrass, I mean, West Ham have bought a lot of players this summer. They've been really active and really busy, and he was struggling to get a game when he was there previously, so I'd imagine the door's not completely closed on those kind of things, but I'd say it's highly unlikely. I can't see either happening unless we get close to deadline day and Snodgrass isn't looking like he's going to get a sniff, and West Ham say to us, you don't have to pay any money, just a tiny proportion of his wages, and yeah, it could happen. But football's all about money, and life doesn't work like that. West Ham aren't going to be feeling that generous, I wouldn't think.
And what about in terms of outgoings? We can't surely say to Stoke and Tottenham, whoever, these guys aren't for sale, we want to keep them. I
mean, like you say, we're in a better bargaining position fee-wise, but I think because of financial fair play, I understand we still need to sell them, which is a shame. It'd be nice if we could enjoy this day, people like new investment, happy times. We're out of the woods in terms of going into administration. It'd be nice to turn around and say, and we don't have to sell the players, and we can rewind 6 weeks and Sam Johnston doesn't go on loan. Sorry, doesn't join West Brom and things like that. But we don't live in that happy world, unfortunately.
Just a couple of other tweets. Probably maybe a little bit more wary of these people. Any new investment is good in the current situation, but let's judge these guys on what they do and not what they say, which is, I think, what I was touched on before. That there is going to be an element of scepticism for some people.
Yeah, so I don't think you can blame people for having that reaction. It's probably the sensible reaction at this time.
Another one of similar thing, it's not just having the money that's important, it's how wisely it's spent. Hopefully no more throwing unsustainable amounts around and offering ridiculous rewards to those that don't deserve or earn it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair as well. I think those last two comments are bang on the money, to be honest. So that's it for today's video. Hopefully some more information will come to light in the next few days and weeks, months, and hopefully we'll be able to talk more about this new situation for Villa. But as I say, it is good news, so let's be happy about that. If you are happy, then make sure you're giving this video the big old thumbs up and giving us a like, and comment below with your thoughts on the new ownership situation and how Aston Villa now move forward. If you're not already subscribed to the Villa View with your post notifications on, if you could do that as well, that would be absolutely brilliant. Really helps the channel grow. And if the new owners or new investors are watching, if they want to subscribe as well, that would be very nice. Unfortunately for the Villa View, the podcast that we recorded a few days ago is probably a bit out of date now, but if you do fancy going back and watching that's available on YouTube, SoundCloud and iTunes as always. And if you missed our review of the new excellent Luke Roper kits, go back and check that out on our YouTube channel that you're watching this video via, and you'll be able to have a look at that and see what my thoughts were on the kits a few days ago. Thanks ever so much for your support and for watching the channel. Stick with the Villa, stick with the channel of the Villa. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.